Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. It's nice to have you join me on another episode of HowToGetCreative.com show known as Drama Free Friday. I'm glad you're here. Hello, everyone. Come right in. I got some happy mail to show you today. Kind of wait and see if the sender of said happy mail arrives. Hi, Deborah and Tia and Margaret and Sandy and Angelica, Petka, hi Petka, and Pin. Muppet will gladly accept your imaginary dog treat, except she would highly prefer that it was the real thing. There's Jillian. Hi, Jillian. Look what I got. Gotta show it. It's adorable. All right, I need to tip a blind down, so give me just a second here. Okay, I have on my Place to Bark t-shirt. I am a supporter of animal shelters, no-kill animal shelters if at all possible. A Place to Bark is a great one. So, support. I also always encourage you to support your local animal shelters if you are so inclined. And that would be great. Okay, who else we have here? Hi, Janice. Michelle. Hi. Hi, Dorothy. Signa. From cold and snowy Norway. Wow. Hello, Auntie Michael JZ. Yeah, Norway. That does give you the shivers, doesn't it, to think of. Ooh, that's got to be cold. That has got to be cold. Okay, let me see if I can do this. We have a new system set up. We have a new system set up, and I'm not sure I'm smart enough to operate it yet. So, we will see. Yeah, I have no idea. No, not going to do it. If Race shows up and I get in trouble, I just get in trouble. It's too far beyond. It's not hard. It's just new, and I don't get it yet. Hi, Ian. Hi, Kasha, Annette, Lisa. Hi, Jody. Let's see. Just checking to see if hopefully. Hi, Lori. Hi, Annette. So just checking. How's Ian today? How's the UK? Ian and Dorothy and anybody else from the UK that's here. I hope it is. I hope you're having a good day. It's the evening for you, I believe. Middle of the day for us here in the States. So, yeah. Okay. Hi, beloved ghost. Linda. Hi, Patty. Cold. Okay. Oh, wishing you well, C-Tabs. I'm not sure what your name is, but wishing you well with that. Hi, Robin. Carol TMT. Hello. Hi, Miriam. Just catching everybody as they were coming in. As you can tell, my glasses are not exactly outfitted for the chat that I have on this monitor, so that's why I'm over here like this. Hi, Frana. If I mispronounce your names, I do apologize. Okay. Hi, Nancy. Nice to have you all here. All right, let's get crack-a-lack-in here. I want to show you this happy mail I got. It is too adorable for words. too adorable for words. This came from Kia Jillian in the chat. Oh, that's good to hear, Dorothy. She says it's cold in the UK, but otherwise all well. Good. Elena from Argentina. Wow. I'm sorry I don't speak Argentinian or Spanish or whatever the language is, so I can't respond to you other than I can say hello. So, hello. Okay. This came from Kia Jillian in the chat. And this is a beautiful little card that she sent as just a note. She signed it on the back. She sent me a great note about this little character that she made, and I'm going to spell it because I'm not exactly sure of the pronunciation. She says she has been crocheting these little figures known as amigurumi. That's my guess. Sorry, I thought I was talking to you. That is my guess at the pronunciation of this little figure I'm going to show you. And she's been sending them to various streamers and so forth. She said that she was hoping that the sponsors approved, which I will tell you about that in a minute. And she had a chocolate point Siamese cat for 19 years when she was growing up, which that is a long-lived cat for sure. She says right now she has a couple of rescue cats, one black, one white with black spots. They're 16 and 17. Wow. Wow. You have some cats with some long lives going on. Anyway, you guys, look at this. Okay, look at this. I'll get out of the picture so you can get the whole effect. Okay, it's a little Siamese. It's a little stuffed crocheted sponsor. It's a little crocheted sponsor, people. Look. And she said that it is meant to have the front part down like it's getting ready to pounce on something. And this little tail, I'm not sure if she's put a pipe cleaner in the tail, but it's bendable. Is that not the cutest thing ever? Hi, Animal Lecter. Amigurumi. I don't know what it is, so I missed it. Did I miss it? Okay, thank you, Miriam. Miriam said that the person from Argentina says hello and she doesn't know English. So we're even, because I don't know her language either. So if that is not the cutest thing ever, look at that face. Look at the face. I mean, it is so cute. And when it's sitting on the table, its front feet go out and its little back legs go up. It's so cute. Thank you so much, Jillian. And then she also enclosed a colored pencil, a crocheted colored pencil. So she said to flatten the top so that it looked more like the eraser. But look, it's a crocheted colored pencil. Who thought of that? Who thought of that? It's so cute. So these were, I'm just going to lay them down here like this. So these were on my desk, on my table. I'll put it over here so you can see it. So these were on my table the other day, or right after I got them. I just got them a day or two ago. Amigurumis are stuffed things made with crochet. Okay, cool. Cool. Well, thank you guys. Hi, Roesta. Roesta, I believe that's correct. Hi, Zero Gravity. Hi, Elena. There she is. Okay, so these were sitting on the table, and I had the card with it and everything. And all of a sudden, from nowhere, here comes Chance. I don't know if Jillian put some catnip in these or what. I wouldn't put it past her. But Chance was very interested in this. He thought this was his toy and he was going to just get a hold of it and he's a big cat. This is a big little toy, much bigger than his regular toys. He was just going to get a hold of it and just take it off with him. I'm like, oh no, I've seen what you do to your toys. He would have this down on the ground and be kicking the stew out of it with his hind legs, because that's what he does. Hi, Sherry Spats. Hi, Josie. Nice to have you here, Josie Webb. Nice to see you in the chat. I know, it is adorable. It is adorable. So, Jillian, thank you so much. I always call her Kia, but her name is actually Jillian, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hi, Crafty Joy. Nice to have you here. Boy, we got a great group coming in. So, anyway, no catnip. Oh, can't send. Oh, that's right. No plant material across the border because she's in Canada. Well, I will tell you, it might as well have had catnip because it had that effect on at least one of the sponsors. The other one's too lazy. The other one is just too lazy. So anyway, so cute. So cute. Thank you so much. That was really sweet of you. Hi, Lindy. Okay, I'm going to set this off to the side and hopefully get it far enough away that the sponsors don't find it. So I hope you guys are having a great day. It is, we'll just chat for a minute here. Yeah, it was great. Oh, thank you, Jillian. She said she loved making it. She loved making it. It was great. It was great. Okay, so I am going to have a spot of tea with you guys for just a second. It's been a super busy week around here. I don't know if you guys have been busy, but it has been busy around here, let me tell you. But fun, but busy. Linda says she's pooped. I can kind of relate to that. I can kind of relate to that. Hi, Yvonne. I won't even go into all the stuff that went on around here this week, but what we're going to play with, I don't know if any of you, if you follow me on Twitter, you saw that Muppet commandeered my Twitter account today. And you probably follow, if you follow me on Facebook, I think she got that account too. And we're just getting on Instagram at this point, so you may see multiple posts from me as I learn how to use some of the newer social media things to me. Anyway, she commandeered the nerve of this little dog. I mean, we took her in, we gave her a good home, and now she's taken over my social media accounts. What can I say? So she posted that I was working on Christmas today. Now, I don't know if you guys are into the holidays. If you're not, then you may not enjoy this, but we have very few weeks left between now and when the holidays occur. And I don't know if you guys are like me or not, but what happens to me is I have all these great intentions of all these fun things I'm going to make, right? And people I want on my list that I want to give them something that's handmade. Maybe it's a little something, maybe it's a big something. And then the next thing I know, it's the 1st of December and I fly into a panic and, I don't get stuff done. So I thought, well, we'll play with a few things today. How's that? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have a little spot of tea. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but I'm having a mug full of tea. How's that? Ian says it looks like a tanker. Well, maybe it is. I know, Deborah, don't remind you. I know. But you have to admit, Muppet was pretty cute in that Santa hat today. All right. The first thing we're going to do is I had some leftover watercolor paper. I'm not entirely sure that my mouth is going to work entirely right today, so please forgive me if I stumble around over my words. I had some leftover watercolor paper from another project, and so I just cut it into tag shapes. I used a tag that I had, and I just laid it on the strip of paper, and you'll be able to see that this is bigger. what I cut is bigger, but that's just because that's the width of the strip. And who says a tag has to be a certain size? If it has to be a certain size, then this is an epic fail. On the other hand, if it's just whatever I want it to be, it's totally a success. So I used the top of this tag that I already had, and I drew the angle of these little tab things because I don't have a punch that does that. And then down here at the bottom, I do have a punch that will do a 1/4 inch diameter circle and corner rounder for a 1/4 of an inch. And so I just did that. And so these are the ones I have. Some of them have some stuff on them, some of them don't, but they're just watercolor paper. And what I did, I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. I'm going to see if I can catch the light here. Yeah, there you can see it. I had these little transparent reinforcements, hole reinforcements, and so I stuck one on the middle and then punched a hole through it. And I did that on the same side, on the back, the same thing on the back, and I did that to all of them. And then I even had a few that were white, and so I, I'm just using up what I have. Okay? All right. All right. Thanks. She likes my lipstick. Well, truth is, I couldn't find the one I usually wear. Sometimes you just have to be honest, you know? All right, so what we're going to do is I have a bottle of water, spray bottle of water, and then I've talked about these before. These are Tumble Dye, SEI is the company, SEI Tumble Dyes, and these are fabric dyes, and they're spray fabric dyes, and I like to dilute them down, so I put them in empty little 2-ounce bottles like this. I put in about so much of the strong dye and then put the rest water. Okay, Joy says, I hope you did not put some of that juice from last week's project. I don't really know what I did. What did I do last week? I don't even know what I did. I think we did. Sorry, I've filmed multiple classes and things since then, so I don't even know what I did. You'll have to refresh me. Anyway, from the Tumble Dyes, I have blueberry, I have sky blue, and then I always label them with something. Some of these are about to run out. This is turquoise. This one is royal blue. I know you can't tell the difference because some of them are in colored bottles. I much prefer the clear bottles, but I can't always get them. I did the inspiration cards. That's right. Hi, Sue. Hi, Aunt Beck. Oh, you hate living in 2 homes? I bet that's the truth. I bet. I made the funny trees. Oh, that's right. I made funny trees. That is correct. And then I made stuff out of the paper. That's right. So this one is purple. This one's jade. And so I just have this combination of kind of cool colors in my little spray bottles. Now, they don't always spray. And so when they don't spray, I have extras of either the bottles or the sprayers. And I just dump them. Here's an example. I have one just in case we need it. And if I have to, I'll just either take the sprayer out and put it in the bottle, or I'll dump the whole works in a new bottle. And I give the sprayer one chance, and I do mean one chance, to straighten itself up. I will try to clean it. I will put it in hot water. I'll put it in soap. I'll use Murphy oil, and it's got one shot at getting itself straightened out. And if it doesn't, it goes in the trash, and that's the end of that. Okay. Hi, Black Kitten. How are you? Okay, just saying hi to everybody. Okay. All right. So here we go. I'm going to spray them with water. We're going to do these first and then set them off to dry. Then we're going to do some paste paper, and then we're going to see what we can make with all this mess, okay? So I'm going to put a couple of these. I'm going to get all my stuff out of the way that is important, that can't get wet. It's always a trick with electronic things. I mean, if I get in trouble with illegal fluids on the table, you can imagine how much trouble I get in with spraying dyes and paints and stuff all over the rest of the place. You're waiting to see Chance and Charlie? Well, it will take a little while before they come out. Hi, Melissa. Thank you. Okay, here we go. So I just have water in the bottle. I'm going to spray water. Get them wet. And then I'm just going to randomly pick up 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever I'm in the mood for. Shake them up. And I'm going to add some spray dyes to these. The reason I like the spray dye, the tumble dye in the spray bottles, is because when it dries, it's permanent. This is purple. And I'll go back and clean all the sprayers here in a minute. For the time being, we're just going to spray. And depending on how much I've diluted certain colors, they may be very similar in tone. But, you know, hey, we'll just add some of everything. What do you say? This is blue. Okay, so let's add a little blueberry too. Why not? I say why not? Oh, that's a pretty color. That is blueberry. I hadn't mixed that one up before. And then we have, what do we have left? Jade. We'll add a little jade. Okay, so we have a nice mess of color on here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take another tag and I'm going to spray it with water kind of off to the side, just to kind of get it a little damp and pat off some of the excess. So I've just got it kind of damp, and I'm going to lay this on top of the ones that are real soupy wet. Squash it. Okay, squash it around. This is watercolor paper. And then I'm going to pull them apart. And then you'll see that we end up with a pretty cool looking background. Now this real soupy stuff, I'm just going to shake that off. Or, you know, just kind of run it around. I might use my finger. Kind of spread it around the edges so that I get some of the excess ink around the edge, and then we're going to call it good. And do the same thing here. I'm just going to spread a little bit of the ink around. It's actually dye, fabric dye. That's what these are formulated for, is fabric. All right, we're going to set that off to the side, and now I'm going to soak this one up too. This one already has stuff on it, so I'm going to put some water on it, dampen it a little bit. Let's see what happens when we color that one. Actually, I like unexpected results, and so I don't know what's going to happen, but I really don't care. Now, I have some specks on here. I want to show this to you. There's some specks on here of undiluted dye, and so I'm just going to kind of spread those around a little bit, because undiluted dye, when it dries, can flake off, and that's not so good if it flakes off on your surface and you pick it up on other stuff. So some of those had clearly settled out for a while. Yeah, acrylic sprays would work fine too. Absolutely. It's just I have the tumble dyes and I really like them, and I, you know, anything will kind of clog up the sprayer. Whether it's a spray that is meant to spray, it will clog up the sprayer, or acrylic paint. I do find when I mix up acrylic paints and acrylic inks, I find that I have the best luck if when I'm finished spraying for a project, if I can remember to do it and make myself do it, I'll take the sprayer out and I'll spray clear water through it until I see the water come through. Once I see the water come through, then I put it back in the sprayer full of diluted acrylic paint and don't spray it again until I'm ready to use it the next time. That's how I deal with acrylic paint in a spray form. All right, so I'm just going to spread this around a little bit. Tap off some of it. All right, so we have some kind of bluish, greenish kind of tags going on there. I'm going to set them out of the way and clean up this mess I got going on. Kind of dab off some of the real soupy stuff at the top that was kind of settling out. So I'm going to take off some of that. And then I'm just going to grab a paper towel and clean this up. And then we'll do it again. Yeah, we don't want him watching. Don't tell him, okay? If you see Ray show up, oh no. Oh no. Here, I thought I was getting away with it. People, somebody told him. I know, somebody told him. He says, they're my fluids, I can do what I want. We believe him, don't we? Okay, so there's one. I'm just kind of bending the tag a little bit so it will kind of curl back down as it dries. And it will. It'll settle down here in a minute. All right, so we have those. I'm going to set those aside. I've got a couple more, so let's do these. And then we're going to let these dry, and then we're going to alter some scrapbook papers to use. He's here. Linda, it was you. It was you. I know it was you, Linda. Linda McAllister is the one that gets me in trouble all the time. She gets me in trouble, I'm telling you. Okay, I'm just going to spread the water around a little bit with my finger on these. I don't know why, just because I am. And then let's spray some color on it. So we're going to do jade. That jade is pretty, isn't it? Now this is how, because I'm going to put these away. This is what I do. I use a cloth, and when I'm done spraying, then I just rub that cloth over that nozzle and make sure you put the lid back on, and sometimes that keeps them spraying. I got you, Linda. Yes, I did. All right, let's do some sky blue. So shaking them up. It's a little sky blue, cleaning off the little nozzle, put the lid back on, set it off to the side. Okay, this is turquoise. Well, I'm not going to use turquoise on this because we got enough of that going on. So I'm just going to clean that off and set it off to the side. This is purple. I like the SEI purple. Hi, Dawn. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you in ages. Hope you're doing okay. So a little purple. Clean it off. Okay, clean her off. Put the lid on. Good to go. And this is royal blue. See, I wrote it, and I should have put some kind of, let me do something, because I need to do something before I forget about it. I forgot to set one setting inside my computer, so give me a second here. Just forgot to do it. You guys won't see it, but it'll make a big difference to me here in a second. Okay, we're good to go. Sorry about that. Technical thing. Okay, a little bit of blue. Clean her off. Joyce is the one that knows everything about me. I tell you, that Joyce. She keeps track of me. Hi, Ilona. I'm good. How are you? These are from Tumble Dyes. These sprays are from the Tumble Dye, SEI Tumble Dyes. And I put about maybe ½ an inch of the undiluted dye in the bottom of the bottle, and then put the rest, water. It's not scientific, not at all. Good night, Signa. Nice to see you. Okay, so let's put a little bit of blueberry. Boy, that's a yummy color. That is a yummy color. So I'm going to clean that off and put it off to the side. Oops, must be the wrong top. Oh, that becomes a problem. Because sometimes I get the lids confused. If you buy the exact same bottle every time, I'll figure that out later. If you buy the exact same bottles, then these lids fit the way they're supposed to. If you don't, and then you've got lids that aren't airtight, yeah, that's a problem. Because the airtight really seems to help with keeping the sprayer spraying. All right, where else? What else do I have? I don't have any more paper here. Yes, I do. So this is just a piece of leftover watercolor paper. I'm going to spray it with a little bit of water. And then I'm going to see what I can pick up off of this. Just to soak up some of that, because I really want these to be kind of more pastelish. Is that a word? Nope. But see, you get some really pretty effects there. And then I've got another piece. We'll do the same thing. So just trying to pick up some of the excess dye. So that it lightens up a little bit. Good enough. And then I've got to start on something else, on another tag. A little rubber band on the top of the nozzle helps. How does that work, Linda? How does that help? You need to explain it to me, Lucy. Rubber band on the tip. I'm trying to get a visual picture of what that... You mean like... This must be the one that fits on. Yeah. You mean like put a rubber band where? Where do you put the rubber band? I look lovely today. Thank you, Nancy. You're very sweet. Oh, so you can push on the cap. Got you. It takes up the room. I'm with you now. Oh, I'm a little slow sometimes, but hey. Got you. That's a good idea. Okay, cleaning up my stuff, just patting up some of the excess. All right, here's our tags that we have so far. So we've got this one and this one. So they're all going to be similar because I use similar colors on all of them. So we got a few tags ready to go. All right, we're going to set these off to the side and let them dry. Got ya, Linda. I may be slow, but yeah, eventually I catch on. Okay, I'm going to set these off on the floor so they can dry. And we are going to play around with some ugly scrapbook papers. At least in my opinion, they're ugly scrapbook papers. Okay, so I have some sheets here. Now, some of you might think these are beautiful, and I apologize if you do. I don't think they're particularly anything to write home about. They came in some of those giant pads full of paper that, and this is just paper. This is not cardstock. So this is just your scrapbook paper. And I have one more. We're not going to alter all of these. We're just going to play with some of them. I'm just going to show you kind of the process. So I'm going to pick this one. And this is using paste paper, the paste paper technique. So I have the paste and the paint already mixed up. And I've mixed up a selection of greens. So I have a selection of greens. Some of them are craft paints. Some of them are student grade paints and tubes. Not again, the ugly scrapbook paper. Yes, yes they are. Hey, Deb. And then I have 3 browns here. There's a metallic brown and there's also a metallic green in this someplace. Anyway, I've mixed them up with art paste. And this, sorry, I'm trying to unstick it from the jug. I have it taped onto my jug so I know what it is. This is Elmer's art paste. You'll find a link for it in the description box below the video. This is the product that I like to use. You can also use wallpaper paste or starch. There's a variety of things you can use to dilute your paint with, but needs to be thickened and diluted with something other than water. So that's what I have. And then I have this box. I put this in a whole, I use this to make an entire gallon of art paste because I use it a lot. And you want to go watch the videos that I have. There's 2 videos. One is called Paste Paper is Fabulous. The other one is called Paste Paper Pizzazz. It'll give you all the details about working with art paste. So I've poured it into this ice cube tray, and then I've added some paint, and then I've mixed it up, and then I have a brush for each one. Okay? All right. So I'm just going to start adding some paste, and then I have some texture tools. So I have this is one from Catalyst. This is a Martha Stewart tool, and these things are called style sticks. And the ones I like the best are, this is a wedge. This is a wedge style stick, and then I have some that are like, well, they're just round on the tip, so they'll make circles. Linda learned something. Ta-da! The only thing in that jug is a gallon of distilled water with the art paste. But you wanna mix it up properly, otherwise you'll end up with a big clumpy mess. So watch the videos and think of, if you've ever made Jell-O, that's how you want to mix up your art paste. Put the powder into the liquid, not the liquid. Yeah, okay, let's just do this. Take a big old bowl, put some water in the bottom, some of your distilled water, then put in some of your art paste. So you go little by little and use a whisk and stir it up, beat it up. A little more water, beat it up. A little more paste, beat it up. Keep going like that until you have it all completely dissolved. Don't try and take your box of art paste and throw it into the little tiny hole of the jug of water, because it'll just make a plug and you'll not be happy. I should paint the ugly woman. No. No. The reason I use the ice cube tray is because, first of all, a little bit of mixed up art paste goes a long way. I call this paste paint. A little goes a long way. And also because this is flat, it doesn't tend to turn over as well. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to just pick a color. Let's pick, so I have a variety of greens here, so I'm just going to pick one. And I use foam brushes, and I'm just going to paint over the icky, ugly scrapbook paper. Now your paper, this is a 12 by 12 sheet. I don't normally work on sheets this big. And so it starts soaking into the paper immediately. So I can only do about half of this sheet before I have to stop and texture it if I want to get any texture out of it. Otherwise, it's going to dry on me. So I'm going to draw my texture into it using whatever tool I want, and I just kind of go for it and see what happens. Okay, so I've got that part done. Maybe I'll put in a couple little things there, just so I have some texture. And the paste in the paint is what will hold the texture for you. That's why I use that. Okay, so that is why you do it, because I have people ask me all the time, why don't you just use paint? Well, the paint slumps back together, so I like using the art paste to do this. So I've got that textured, and immediately, to me, this is a vast improvement over this. I like that because I like the texture. I'm going to use it in little bitty tiny pieces, and I'm going to come back over this and add another layer, I'm sure. So I'm going to just turn this around so you can see the other half of it. And I'm going to pick another color, and I'm going to do the other half of it. But like I said, on a 12 by 12, you cannot cover, at least I can't cover the entire thing, because if I do, the paper just it's thirsty. It hasn't had a drink in a long time. It's thirsty, and it will just immediately start soaking up that color and liquid. It will just get it in a heartbeat. So you got to work fast. And I do mean quickly. And then texture it immediately. And I'm always wiping the tool off on a towel so that I don't just put the paste right back on. Because if you don't wipe the tool off, you just end up just picking up the color and putting it somewhere else. Okay? Barb, can you fake that effect by putting a dab of molding paste in the paint? I would not think so, but I have not tried it, so I'm not entirely sure. Okay, so this is just plain old scrapbook paper. There we have 2 colors of green on it. We have transformed something that I was not crazy about, that I would never use, into this at this point. So I'm going to set this off to the side on the floor. Which is where everything is living at the moment. And then I'm going to pick up another one. Let's do this one. This will be a good one to do. Hey, Miss Ruth. Okay, Dawn. The thing about the art paste is it's easy to get a hold of. You can order it easily from either Blix. You can get it from Blix, or you can get it from Amazon. There is a link in the description box below the video if you want more information about it. It's there. It's not expensive, and a gallon of it will last you. It's a gallon of it for most people is a lifetime supply. Because I teach classes and because I do all kinds of stuff, you know, I blow through a gallon of it every couple of years, and a gallon of it mixed up keeps a very long time. So yeah, I just would, and you don't have to mix up a gallon. I just find it easiest to do that. So anyway, that's my thought on that. Okay, I'm going to get out of the picture and let's go back to this, and let's see what we can do. Let's put some brown on this one. I'm going to get making these papers to create trees in a little bit. And I'm looking for a variety of, especially greens. But I need some variety in some brown. So I'm putting a little brown in here as well. Now, you don't want to have it too soupy. That is another thing. There's a fine line between too soupy and too wet. I mean, too soupy and not soupy enough. Yeah, I told you I was tired. I didn't say that my mouth was going to work correctly for this entire thing. I didn't promise. But what I enjoy about using the scrapbook papers, first of all, it recycles the scrapbook papers into something that I will use. And the second thing that it does is I love watching the pattern just sink below the surface. It's like going underwater, because already it's gone down. It's not as in your face. It's not as obnoxious to me, even at this stage. Barb, is there a reason not to use the wallpaper paste? There is a preservative, or not a preservative. There is a fungicide or a There is something in the wallpaper paste that, sometimes they don't recommend that you use. I will tell you, I have used it, and it's kind of like some other things. If you're, it just depends on how you feel about using art supplies and so forth. It's not as dangerous as like some of the things, some of the chemicals and things that are put in paint, but it's what they put in it to keep bugs from eating the wallpaper and stuff, I believe, and to keep stuff from growing on your walls and things like that. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Again, you have to work fairly quickly. Okay, so good enough. Okay. You can buy it without the fungicide. Okay. Then I don't think there's any reason not to use it. I think it would be fine. Just have to try it. But see, here's the thing. Here, for me to buy wallpaper paste here, it cost me a whole lot more money to buy wallpaper paste than it cost me to buy that little box of the art paste. So if you have wallpaper paste hanging around, which, my husband frequently does because he does remodeling and that kind of thing. So he frequently does have it just hanging around. And so I will, I can just use some of the supply that he has. But if you're going to have to go out and buy a container of wallpaper paste to use for this application, I think it's going to be a lot more expensive than buying the art paste. So you can also buy liquid starch and use that. Okay. So I'm going to set this off to the side. Now, when the paper is wet, it is fragile. So you want to be careful that you don't get too rough with the paper. Don't hurt its feelings, in other words. Oh, yes. Hi, Patty from Texas. Is Kat here? Hey, Kat. I didn't see you. Nice to have you join us. All right, so let's just keep doing a little bit more. I'm going to turn my container around a little bit so I can get to these a little bit easier. So I have some metallic green, and as I said, some of these are craft paints. Some of them are student grade acrylics in tubes. The metallics tend to be more transparent. And like I said, I mix up the paints in my little ice cube tray. I was using an egg carton, like a foam egg carton, styrofoam egg carton for a while. And yes, it sprung a leak. And so somebody felt sorry for me and sent me this plastic ice cube tray, which was very nice of her. And it's a great idea. You can also mix them up in little cups, like little Dixie cups and things like that. You can mix the paints up, but I am deadly with little containers. It's positively dangerous for me to have little bitty containers of things. Yeah, it's dangerous enough to have it in the ice cream or the ice cube container. Now, I think it was JZ Auntie Michael, who is in the chat today, who said that she found that using popsicle molds were perfect because the brush would stand straight up in the popsicle molds. So that's another option that would be super. Great suggestion. Okay, let's do some. And you'll see when you're working with scrapbook papers, you will see that some of them just grab the color immediately like this. I mean, those roses just went into the, the pigment just went right into them. So I'm just adding a few more designs here. Okay, good enough. We're going to set it off to the side. But if you're working these 12 by 12 sheets, you really do want to do them, you know, half and half. Put on half the paint or sections of paint. You could put more than 2 colors on a sheet. Put on the paint, texture it, and then do the rest of it. And as the papers dry, they're going to curl up. So I'm going to show you some of these. Here are some that I've done in advance, as we say. See if I can get some of this paste and paint up off the surface so I don't transfer it right back onto what I'm doing. All right, so you can see how they curl up and carry on, and that is just the nature of paste papers. They will curl, whether it's paper or cardstock, they will curl up. So you just kind of have to turn them over and be the boss, you know, tell them that they got to straighten up, run them along the edge of the table, you know, just do whatever you need to do to get them to kind of flatten out. So, of course, I don't have this one, you know, unpainted. Well, one of those we did earlier was similar to this. It might have been a different color in the background. But this has had a couple of coats of paint on it, so we're going to put another coat of paint on it. And because I like layering the paints, so I'm going to add some more. As you get subsequent colors of paint or coats of paint as you're working here, it doesn't dry quite as quickly because the paper is not quite as thirsty as it was, but I still do it about half and half, you know, go about half the distance. And you don't want it to be a lot of globs when you do this. You want to kind of have a kind of an even coat of paint when you do this, and then get your tools out and texture your painted surface. And that's Muppet in the background. Now you can get very elaborate with the designs that you put on these. You can get very, I mean, they have some really amazingly elaborate designs that you can see out there in the world. I just kind of use whatever strikes my attention at the moment. I just go for it and say, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to do that, you know, and I'll get stuck on one pattern for a while. And, you know, that's just what I do. Okay, I'm going to turn this around a little bit so you can see it. And you really don't know what the colors are going to do until they're fully dried, because sometimes I've looked at, you know, I'll put a combination of colors on a piece and I go, oh my gosh, that's the worst thing I've ever done in my entire life. That's so ugly. I'm going to have to paint 4 more colors on top of it. And then it dries out and I look at it and I go, well, who did that? Who did that paper? Okay, now, I don't know if you can see on camera as I can, but right here, there's quite a bit of contrast in color. I like that. Over here, I didn't get much contrast, so I'm just going to stick another color of paint right on top of that. Because contrast of color is really where your layers are effective. So I'm just going to put another color on that. Okay, like so. And now I'm just going to draw through it. Okay, do you see how much better that is now, because we have a contrast. Miriam liked it before it had paint on it. Gotcha. That's okay. Now, I know it doesn't show you quite as well on camera as it does in person, but you kind of hopefully get the idea that I'm getting different colors of greens as I'm working, and then a little brown thrown in for good measure. It's funny, Melissa. She says her husband laid down with the cat to get him to go to sleep because otherwise the cat wouldn't let her watch. Okay, contrast between the layer on top and the layer below. Yes. I try to work in contrast. So if I've put a dark color, if there's a dark color below, I try to put a light color on top of it, or a different color of paint or something. Just think contrast and just play with it. There are not a lot of hard and fast rules to this process other than play and have a good time. That's a hard and fast rule. All right, so here's a beauty. Here's a beauty. This one started out as brown. This started out as brown with a bunch of leaves on it, which some of you might like. I personally didn't care for it. So I'm just going to see if I can get it to... I don't know if Melissa was the one... Somebody left me a comment on one of the videos and said that her husband did not... Her husband couldn't remember the name of the sponsors, that we call them sponsors, which I know is a goofy name, but they let me stream, so therefore it seems like sponsors would be the right name. And he calls them the disciples. So it's kind of close, but it's different. Okay, so we've got several colors of paint on here that we've got going on. So I'm kind of liking this. You know, the leaves are beginning to recede. They're beginning to fall down. They're beginning to go down to the depths. So let's put another color on top of this. So I'm going to pick something that is a big contrast to this, I hope. And sometimes you don't know what it's going to look like until you paint it on top of the preceding layer. Okay. So we're going to put some on this. And I also try to do a contrast of pattern. So when I look on here, I've got little lines on this side and big lines over here. So I'm going to try doing the little lines over here. So let's see. Let's see, what should we do? Let's go this way. And then over here, I'm just going to go straight lines, just even though there were little lines there. And then in here, I'm going to use one of these wedge style sticks and just put some zigzags in there and then maybe some dots. Not for anything other than just because I felt like it. Some of them you can see, some of them you can't. So we do have, again, those leaves are now receding down below the surface. However, you're still going to be able to see them. When the paint dries out, the color dries, you're still going to be able to see them, but they're not going to be in your face. Hi, Lori from Cape Breton. Nice. Welcome. Hi, Paula. And... okay, I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to say Moho. I'm going to just guess. And if I got your name wrong, I do apologize. All right, let's see. I'm looking through my colors here just to see if I can find a different color. Maybe we'll go with metallic on top of this just because that would be not really a contrast of color, but it will be a contrast of the surface, you know, the sheen on the paper. So not so much, just think contrast can be a lot of things. It can be color, contrast can be pattern, contrast can be shiny versus dull. So contrast is different than whatever is underneath it. Okay, so let's do, whoops, and that's a hazard you get into around here. And then sometimes I will just turn the paper to make it easier for myself and make big zigzags. And then as it dries, you'll see the patterns from underneath, from the layers below, show up through the layers on the top as well. So you have a contrast of pattern and color. So do you see the leaves kind of going down? Down, down, down. Miriam says her dogs are still because she tells them Muppet will be at the end. You never know. Muppet could make an appearance. She could, in fact, make an appearance. You never know. She is in the studio with me. You'll hear her every once in a while. All right, so let's go back to a couple of the pieces we already did. I do have some other ones done here. Whoops, I picked up a tag. Just to let you see some of the other pieces. These have all had a couple of layers of paint on them. Here's another one. This was brown to begin with. This was brown polka dots. And so this has had a couple of 2 or 3 colors of paint added. This was an off-white, kind of a creamy color background with this little like netting and dots and red. So this one's all brown. Okay, so I'm going to put these to the side. I'm not going to add any more color to these at the moment. I may or may not add any more color to those. Let's go back to this circle one that we did, and because it is pretty wet, I'm going to dry it. So if any of you have in earbuds, I'm going to use a heat gun, and it's a little bit loud, so here we go. Hello, Paula. I just saw your name in the chat. Nice to have you here. You want to get to see Muppet? Okay, we'll try. I'll try to remember. By the time I get to the end of the stream, sometimes my brain's a little hamburger. So I forget. Okay, it's pretty dry, and amazingly this paper is fairly flat. So let's put in, so this has only had 1 coat of paint on it. I can still feel it's a little cool, so this is a little dicey, but hey, we're gonna go for it. Okay, let's put a contrast color. What color shall we use? Maybe we'll go with this real light one. But as it gets more paint on it, even though they're thin layers, it doesn't get quite as thirsty. You know, it doesn't soak into the paper quite as much, is my experience. I often also start my papers with stencils and Dilutions inks because I want them to bleed as I do this with the paste and paint. And you'll see that if you watch the classes, the sample classes that I told you about, the paste paper is fabulous and paste paper pizzazz. You'll see that technique there. So again, they start going, it's like they just start submerging. It's like, yes, that's much better. Okay, let's do something to this part over here. And this is kind of in the brown, so I'm going to go with the metallic. No, I'm not. I'm going to use this other color. It's kind of a golden brown. I don't know what color it was, but kind of a golden brown. We're going to put this one on. Thank you all for joining me today. I'm so happy that you're here. If any of you have not checked out HowToGetCreative.com yet, you may want to check that out. It is the membership website where we have all kinds of creative arts classes. And we have different levels of membership, and so you can try it out for $1. If you want to jump in to the monthly membership, you can do that. If you want to become a VIP, there are extra things for the VIP members. And I love each and every person who participates, as well as all of my viewers. I am so grateful for each of you being here and participating in whatever way you wish to. Okay, so that is what we have so far. So I hope you can see what I'm talking about with contrast. There's contrast in design, there's contrast in color, and then when it dries, if I use metallics, you'll get a contrast in sheen. So, all right, that one's looking pretty cool. I kind of like that one. I may have to use some of that today. Let's go back to this one with the roses, and I'm going to have to dry it a little bit because it's still kind of wet, so let me dry it. So here comes the heat gun again. Dawn, you can just go on the website, it's HowToGetCreative.com, and all that information is there. So it's easy to find out. You're not committed to just check it out. Hey, Barbara Mary Gang. Nice to see you. You want to know where the original paper came from? It came from a big old pad of ugly paper. That's where it came from. Okay, not completely dry, but we're going to go for it. What I want you to see down here as I tip this around is I want you to see the sheen that is coming up down here. This was metallic green that I put down here, I think. And you can see the sheen in the light. But you can also see how much that took that ugly rose paper, and that was all pretty much one color, and made it something more interesting, right? Bye, Ian. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's scrapbook paper. Yes, it's 12 by 12 scrapbook paper. And it's just stuff that I bought a great big pad. You know, it was one of those pads that was about this thick that was like $9 or something. And I've used the paper out of it, but I'm tired of it. Okay, so let's go over this with a green of some color and see what we can get it to do. So, different color. And this is the last one I'm going to put extra color on. Then we're going to stop and we're going to see if we can make some tags using some of this paper. Remember the tags that we sprayed earlier. All right, so we've got some green going on. And then we're going to put some pattern in it. And as it dries, you'll see that turquoise color come back up through it. But now see what happened to the roses? The roses are still there, but they are definitely submerged below the surface. But you can still get some of the purpley tones from the original paper, mauve colors and stuff coming back up. Okay, let's put a color on this one, and let's go with something like this. And then we'll put some other color down here like so. And then let's take a tool and texture it. And these are different sizes. The teeth are different sizes, so the stripes will be different widths as we pull across. And I like that. You can also take the same paper here where we've got this patterning going like this, and you can take one of your other tools and you can stripe it the other way. So you can make kind of a plaid. And as many of these as I have done, I don't know that I've ever done two alike. And even when I get done with them, sometimes I go, I don't know, that one I think might be the ugliest one I've ever done. You have a choice. You can either paint over the top of it after this is dry. You can paint over the top of it, texture it again, totally change it, or just let it dry out and see what it looks like. Because often when you let it completely dry out, it looks so much different. And anyway, and I really like having a huge variety of colors and weights of paper. I like paper. I like having cardstock. You can alter cardstock the same way if you got ugly cardstock, you know, patterns or stuff that you don't like, you can do that. Barbara Mary says she has the same plan for the coloring book pages that she doesn't feel like coloring. That's a good idea. Yeah, a great idea. You can alter anything. Totally. Okay. So you can see the roses are, as it's beginning to dry, and you can see some of those rose patterns still kind of coming up, but not like they were when we started, huh? All right. I'm going to get rid of the paint because I'm done. I'm tired of doing this. So I'm going to get rid of the paint. So what you want to do to clean all this up is you want to rinse everything out really well. If there's a lot of paint left in your containers, I would take it outside and dump it rather than dump all this down your drain. I don't think that's a good idea. I would dump it outside, and then it's safe to wash it. It's safe to wash it in your sink, but I just wouldn't dump all this paste stuff down your drain. And lots of people don't care for cleaning foam brushes up, which I totally understand. For me, I don't mind cleaning them because they last a long time. So I'll clean them up and just let them dry and then use them again. And I've had some foam brushes literally for years. I know, call me crazy. All right, so I'm just cleaning up my space here. Because again, if you don't kind of clean up as you go, you're going to just transfer all of that color and stuff onto the back of whatever you're going to work on. So, all right, let's see what happens here. So we have a brown, we have some browns and greens there. We have some greens. Let's see if we can get some more greens going. Let's dry this one so we can use it. So while I'm drying this, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. Okay, they're not totally dry, but you know, hey, we're going for it and see what happens. So remember the tags that we did earlier. These are dry now, and these are watercolor. This is just watercolor paper that I sprayed with various diluted tumble dry, SEI tumble dye fabric dyes. So I dilute them with distilled water in these little containers, and then spray them on a damp watercolor paper. And the thing I like about them is that they're dry and they're permanent. Of course they're dry, but they're permanent when they're dry. That's what I meant to say. Barbara Mary says she washes out her foam brushes. Yes. Me too. I mean, they're not expensive, but you know, I just, I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like, why just throw it away when you can use it again? Okay, so here are our little tags that look pretty cool. And so we've got them kind of flattened out a little bit. Another thing you can do to flatten these, if you have time to wait, you can turn them over and spray the back side of the watercolor paper. Just spray it with water and set it off to the side and let it dry. And that usually depends on the watercolor paper. This is 140-pound paper. And usually when it dries, it will dry and take the curl out of it. Okay, so we got that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take some greens. I don't know if the chat quit working or if you guys just quit talking, but all of a sudden the chat went dead silent. I'm going to just cut some strips. I don't particularly care if they are even strips. So I'm just going to cut a few strips here. And I'm going to cut a strip off of this one with the brown. And I might cut a real skinny one. You're watching. Okay, okay. That's cool. It always makes the streamer nervous when the chat goes silent. All right, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to just cut kind of a wide strip. This is just preparation, so I have some things ready to go. And then I'm going to cut a skinny one. And maybe I'll cut one off this, so just contrast. Okay. Now, could you do this with a paper trimmer and get them all nice and neat? Absolutely. You bet. I don't tend to do things quite that precisely sometimes. Alright, so let's come over here and we'll grab, actually let's go this way on this one. So it's however wide the strips come out, that's how wide they come out. Okay. So I'm just setting these off to the side after I get a couple strips. Just looking for color variation at the moment. I have you in a trance. Hi, Jessica. Got you in a trance. Because you're trying to figure out where I'm going with this, right? Who knows? We hope it goes somewhere. We hope it goes someplace, don't we? And I apologize in advance if all you got out of this was doing paste paper. Well, at least you got something. If it didn't turn out. You never know. It might turn out great. On the flip side, it might be an epic fail. Because you noticed that there was no example in the photograph that was on the front of the stream today of the finished project, because I hadn't had time to make one. That's why Muppet got to make her debut, her streaming debut, on the front of the YouTube video. And let's do one more kind of bigger strip, wider. All right, we'll see if we got enough contrast of strips here. So here's what we've got. We've got some browns, and then we've got some greens, and we have different colors of greens. That's what we were after. And then I have some little tiny strips right here. Okay, so we've kind of got this is our palette of stuff to work with, right? I'm living dangerously, Becky. I'm living dangerously. All right. Paula says she's going to a craft room to look for ugly paper. All right, here we go. We're going to take a tag. Let's see what we can build out of this, huh? And we're going to take a skinny strip. And I'm going to make my skinny strip about like that. Okay, so I have a skinny strip. And then I'm going to make a fat strip at the bottom. Like so. Okay, so we're just going to lay this out first, and then we'll see what else I want to do with it. Alright, so I'm going to start at the top of this. I'm going to take a skinny piece. And I'm going to come up here at the top with the skinny one, and I may use a fat one at the bottom. This is all subject to change. If I decide that I don't like it, I'll change it. Change it right up. Yes, I will. In a heartbeat. Okay, so let's go for the next one. And then the next one. And let's see, what else do we want? What next? And you can clearly tell I'm not paying a lot of attention to the chat at the moment because I'm busy. That one I don't want to use. Maybe this one. Okay. And then I need to go get some, I have some other paper, so I'm going to let you look at this just a second. Nobody freak out. I'll be right back. Although this is not a yellow star, it is a piece of paste paper. And this is going to be easy because it's already shaped into a star for me. This happens to be from a hand-carved stamp that I did a long time ago. So I apparently stamped the cardstock and then did some paste paint on top of it. But it's easy because I can just follow the outline of the star. And we'll put a star on the top of our little tree. Okay, so we'll put a star on the tree. You think I left for good? I did not. I did not. All right, so we have a little tree that we're going to build on this tag, and we're going to put it together. Now, in an effort to make these strips show up a little bit more, to pop them up off the background, I'm going to use a Copic marker because it's what I have. And when you do this, you want to keep the right side of whatever it is facing you, facing up. Because if you miss with the marker, it goes to the back side. Okay, if you miss, it will color the back side and not the top. That was a trick I learned from somebody. It doesn't dry right away. You can also do this with a Pitt artist pen. You can do the same thing. In fact, they're not as smelly as the Copic markers. You could also do this with an ink pad if you want. I just find this is paper, and so it's a little easier for me to control it by using the marker. And these little details like this do make a difference. It just starts setting things apart. Popping them up away from backgrounds and things like that. Oh, we must not, Joyce, we must not. Joyce is trying to get me in trouble. Do you guys see that? She is trying to get me in trouble with the technical department. Let me assure you, the technical department can pull the plug on us at any point in time. He does not have to be here to pull the plug. He told me that one time. I said, don't make promises you're not going to keep. Giving me a hard time. Giving me a hard time, let me tell you. All right, so now before we start putting this all together, let's add some ink around the outside edge of this. So I'm going to use library green. Just refresh, Barbara Mary. Just refresh. It should straighten right out for you. It should. Keep him on his toes. Yeah, indeed. He keeps me on my toes. That is for certain. So I'm just using a little piece of blending foam, and this is archival ink. It just happens I like archival ink. I like pretty much all the inks I've tried, but I really like the archival a lot. I like the color palette. I like the way it behaves. I like that it's it's right, Josie. I believe in. Okay, so that's what we have. Okay, let's put this puppy together, shall we? See what it looks like. We're gonna build ourselves a tree. I think I don't need the trunk quite this long, so I'm going to cut off a little bit of the trunk there. If I wish that I hadn't done that, oh well. So I'm using tacky glue, and I'm just going to spread it on the back. You could use whatever kind of glue you want. I'm going to kind of guess where the middle is by eye. Okay, so just kind of by eye. I'm going to put down my trunk. We're building it as we go. Sometimes you got to do one to see what you don't like so you can change it for the next ones. You know what I mean? These tags I think are great, especially if you have all the raw materials done. They're really nice so that you can use them on packages, you know, or some people give the tag as a gift also. I don't do those elaborate ones with flowers and all that kind of stuff. That's just not me. But if it's you, hey, go for it. I also like using tacky glue because it rolls off my fingers. Now, do you want your tree to be perfectly straight across, or do you want it to be kind of wonky, kind of, you know, as one of my good friends used to say, yeah, yeah. It's like, what is yeah, yeah? She was trying to explain to me what yeah, yeah was. And the way she finally explained it to me is she said, you know, yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, okay. Okay. Kind of wonky is what I interpret that to mean. All right, so we have 3 more. So we're going to put a 1, a 1, a 2, a 3. Yeah, that'll be fine. That will be fine. So again, just a little glue. A little gluage. And let's make these a little wonky-esque. And then I'm going to have to find a little tiny piece of red. I have a squirrel out in my backyard. I don't know if you can hear it, but he is driving Muppet absolutely crazy. She is by the door, and she wants to go out there and get that squirrel. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, Iffy. Miss Sherry Ann, Iffy. So, spread the glue out. And then we're going to put a star up here on the top. This is best if you don't do the spreading of glue right on top of your project, because if you drop it, it's going to go glue side down where you don't want it. I can just about promise you that. All right, so we have the beginnings of our tree. It's kind of cute, don't you think? I think it's cute. I like it. All right, let me get, I'm going to look for some red paper here. For some reason, red is not a paste paper color that I do a whole lot, so, we have red. Sort of red. Reddish pinkish. Reddish goldish. Okay, we found some red. Never mind. Apparently I do. Apparently I do red after all. Didn't realize it. All right. So, I'm going to use this color. This is also paste paper. This is done with cardstock, white cardstock. I'm going to use a hole punch. And punch a bunch of holes. This is a 1/4 inch hole punch by We Are Memory Keepers. Okay, we'll see if that's enough. If it's not, we can always punch more. Now, these kind of curl up a little bit, so you have to flatten them back out. And, you know, this is going to drive us all crazy, but I'm going to do it because I'm just feeling that kind of crazy today. I'm going to edge them. Yes, I am. I'm going to edge them with the black marker. That one is junk. Must have been left over from something before. All right, so we're just going to work with what we have here. However many I have, that's how many we're going to do. Now, before I edge these, I'm going to do one more little thing. I'm going to use a different red, so this is a contrasting color. And I'm going to use a pencil. Let's see if I can make this work. Let's see, where do I want it? Okay. All right, wish me luck cutting this out. That's right, Miriam. You got it. This is not confetti. No, it is not. It is not. You might think it is, but it is not. I would never insult my Christmas tree, my holiday Christmas tree, by putting confetti on it. Never, 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 never. Well, it's not a great bird, but it's, you know. It's not a great bird, but it's a good enough bird. Okay. It's a good enough kind of bird, okay? Okay, while that gel ink dries a little bit, we'll do our little Christmas, oops, wrong end of the Copic tool. We're going to edge our little berries or Christmas ornaments or whatever they are. Now, I do have to admit, you have to really like somebody to do this for them. However, I have quite a few people in my life that I like a lot. And I enjoy having handmade things on hand. So I like doing this stuff, you know, do a whole bunch of them and have them ready for whatever it is. I don't have to know what I'm going to do with it, right? I can just make them and have them on hand. I do that with cards. I don't consider myself a great card maker by any means, but I do enjoy having handmade cards to send out. It's my version of handmade cards. It's not, you know, may not be the acceptable, you know, this is, the card making police might not agree with me, if you know what I mean. There's police, and did you know this? There are police in every creative arena. When I was a music major in college, there were music police. When I was sewing and tailoring garments, there were sewing police. When I was quilting, there were quilting police. I ran into them. My hands are full of paint and glue and ink at this point. Look at that. Look at those hands. Hello, Vicki. Nice to see you. Dawn's under arrest. I was a piano major. I surely was. My specialty, if you can call that, was ensemble. So I loved playing four hands at one piano and dual pianos. That was what I really loved. And I performed quite a few times with a partner. Several different partners, actually. Had a couple of partners in college, and then I had a couple of partners after college. All right, let's see if this little puppy we can make him cooperate with us. Okay. So I think I may have gotten a little ink on this little bird, but for just the purpose of demonstration, we're going for it. Let's see, what else? I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat for a second. Erica, I understand. That's funny. I did not teach race. He did take lessons, but I did not teach him. And I did not teach the grandkids either. No, I sure didn't. Race was a phenomenal student. He played a solo concert when he was about 11 or 12. And it was amazing. And then he began writing and making up his own music. And he is a stellar musician in his own right. He taught himself to play guitar. He has written beautiful music. Any of you that have listened to the book I wrote, Normal Doesn't Live Here Anymore, if you've listened to the audio version, all of the music on there is his own original music, which he performed on the audiobook. So now, if I were so inclined, this would be a good place to get out tweezers. But I honestly find it more difficult to utilize tweezers than I find it just fumbling around. He is phenomenally talented. Ink and punch in one step. Just color the punch hole with watercolor marker, then punch on top, showing through the hole. Okay, I'm going to read that again, JZ. Ink and punch in one step. Just color the punch hole with watercolor marker, then punch with top showing through the hole. Okay, I'm too dumb to get that one. I need pictures, JZ. I need pictures. Yeah, it was great that he was willing to do the original music for the book. It was great. He hid that talent from me for a long time. He didn't let his mom know that he did things like that. It's hard to believe, isn't it? 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we have one more. Okay, we got it. Top of the paper showing in punch holes, so ink goes on the side you want. I gotta think about that. JZ, I'm just too dumb today. Either that or I've just had too long a week. You know what I mean? I know, you guys can't believe I can't get it. Everybody in the chat's understanding except for moi. Okay, there we go so far. Now, I am a big believer in words, and so I'm going to put a word on here somewhere. All right, I'm going to use that one because I like it. These are from Tim Holtz, from these packages of dies, these Thinlit dies. This one is from the one called Holidays. I did put links in the description box below the video, so that in case you wanted to check them out. So this one is the one that says Holidays. It has peace. This is the other one that the name of it is Winter. And the best part of these dies to me is that it punches out like that. It also punches out all the little teeny letters. Yes, yes it does. Yes it does. This I think might be a nightmare to glue on, but you know, hey, can if you want to. I'm going to glue this one on. Maybe we'll add another one. What do you think? No, we're just going to do this one. So this is a piece of jelly plated paper that I did a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. Probably don't have enough light. There we go. So this has a little bit of white paint on it. Okay, so that's what I'm using. So I'm going to stay right here so you can, it's not the greatest angle in the world for you to be able to see, but you can kind of get the idea. There's our little tag. Okay, so maybe I'll come back over here, actually. I think it's a little easier to see over here. So I'm going to put some glue on the back of this. And I'm going to just put it down here at the bottom. I'm not going to mess around with it. That's the kind of stuff I can just mess around with all day long, trying to go, oh, do I want it here? Do I want it there? Do I want it somewhere else? It's like, no, glue it down. Be done with it. Just put it in place. All right, let's see if we can put this on here, kind of center it. I like the fact that the letters will show through. Before I do that, I want to, before the glue dries on me, we'll probably have to put more glue on that in a second. But my tree is floating in the air, and I don't like that. So I just put a little ground down there for my tree to grow out of. Now let's see if we can get this to stick. It's just one of those little detail things. That just in case you could see through it, I wanted that to be there. Okay. Okay, we have a little piece tree. So I'm going to dig in my fibers here to see if I can come up with something that might work for a little ribbon bit at the top. Here we go. We'll use this one. So we have this, that's kind of yellow green. Maybe not the best one. This one would be better. Or we could put them together. I like the variety of colors. I don't like everything to be samey. That's just not me. So we're going to just put some, we're going to just put them together. And now if I had a crochet hook, this would be ever so much easier to do. More than one way to skin a cat, you know what I mean? You know, I will do it wrong every single time. Even though I think about it, I still do it wrong. Pay no attention to Barb as she fumbles with the ribbons. Pay no attention to the girl in the box as she fumbles with the ribbons. This is ever so much easier to do with a crochet hook. Yes. But the crochet hooks are in with the sponsors and we don't want to go in there quite yet. You know what I mean? Okay, we're going to call it good. We're going to call it good. Now, this tree is outside, you know, it's outside. And so we need to give it a little bit of a snow look. And it's just going to be the suggestion of snow because obviously it's not real snow, but it's just a suggestion of. So I have a little bit of cobalt teal, or cobalt archival ink. That'll work fine. Okay, here we go. We're going to put some snow on it. All right, so we have some snow on our little tag. Glitter? No. You couldn't make me fall for that one, Miriam. You couldn't make me fall for that. You tried, but you didn't make me do it. Okay, And up here in our sky, there's always some little birds. There's always little birds in the sky. Because you got to have little birdies. He's got to have friends. And then I'm going to put my name on it down here. And that, my friends, was a long way to get here, but we got her done. So there's our fibers up at the top. There's our teensy little birds. You see them up in the sky. We have a little snow going on. We altered scrapbook papers with paste paint and recycled watercolor paper into a tag. Ta-da! There you go. And after all of that, I have the biggest mess on my table that you could possibly imagine. My studio space after I do something like this always looks like a bomb went off. Yes, it does. So, and my craft mat is filthy. Yeah, everything is pretty much a disaster around here. Anyway, you like it? You do? You gotta have a little bird. Yeah, everybody's got to put a bird on it, don't you think? Paste paint blows your mind. Paste paint is a good thing. Kat says, add double-sided tape to the paper before die cutting and all your pieces will have adhesive after cutting. Does that work? Kat, does that work with the thinlet dies too? With those really fine thinlet dies? Because I've used that with some other things, but I've never used it with dies that the letters and stuff were that teeny. So I haven't tried that. You love it? Oh, good. The bird is the word. That's right. Yes, it does. Okay, I'm going to try that. So Kat says to put adhesive, like the double stick, like score tape or something like that is what you're talking about, right? Put that behind the paper first, and then use the dies. And she said then you've got the adhesive on it all when it comes out of the die cut. So that's good information. Hey, Jan, Lady True Jan. Cotton balls. No cotton balls. What color is this lipstick? I don't know. It's whatever. It's whatever was in the drawer. I couldn't find my regular one. I don't know what it is. I don't. Unlike Race's girlfriend, who is a makeup expert, I am not. I use whatever. It's like I use whatever there is. Everybody would have makeup. People have a cow. I use like soap on my face and stuff like that. It's worked for me all these years. I'm not going to change now. My worst nightmare is when I run out of makeup and I have to go get new and they've changed it. It's like, no, you can't change what I use. You can't. Yeah. So somebody asked me about lipstick a few weeks ago and I said, I don't know what it is. I buy one tube of lipstick, I use it till it's gone, then I buy a new one. The name of my book is, I've written several. The one with the music on it is called Normal Doesn't Live Here Anymore, an inspiring story of hope for caregivers. So it is the story of me taking care of my parents and that whole journey that unfolded with the caregiving and the family and all that stuff. It is written for the unexpected family caregiver. That is why I wrote that book, because it happens to us. It happens to millions of people every year where they become unexpected family caregivers. They never saw it coming, and they're thrown into it, and they are thrown into all of these emotions and all of that. They don't know how to deal with it, and they think they're the only one that has ever felt the way they feel. And so forth and so on. So that is why I wrote that. I also wrote creating faces, needle sculpting from the beginning, and that is an art book on needle sculpting, how to make faces with a profile and three-dimensional details on the face. And then I also wrote the book Mandala Melange, which is a whole book of hand-drawn mandalas. So, yeah. All right. Score tape with the backing on. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, Muppet is in the studio. Okay, let me clean up. I just need to pick up some stuff off the floor, and then we will bring out the sponsors. So I'm going to give you one more quick look at the what we did today. Now, that was a lot of time spent doing one tag, but believe me, I have got raw materials to do a ton more. But one of the reasons I was doing the paste paper, is because I wanted to get all the variations of the colors of green, and then having the browns for the stem and the trunk on the tree and stuff like that. This is not an original design. It's just my original take on someone else's design, and I couldn't tell you whose it is because I've seen it a dozen times. And then, then it just unfolds as I start working on it. Stuff like that happens. It's like, oh, it needs little red berries. Okay, I wonder if I got red paper. Oh, it needs a bird. Put a bird on it. Oh, it needs a star. I never even thought about the star, but fortunately I found something that would work for that. So anyway, there you go. Let me clean up the floor just a minute so that the dog can come over here. So I will disappear for 1 minute. I'll be right back. Okay, let's see if we can get the sponsors out. But let's do Muppet first. We'll do the Muppet first. Come here, Mupp. Come here, Mupp. She and one of the sponsors don't get along all that well. Come here. Come here. Okay. Yeah, it's a good girl. All right, let's see if we can we'll get a sponsor cam down here on the Muppet. She is very dark. So, yeah, there she is in all her glory. This is the Muppet. This is the Muppet. She's a rescue from animal rescue called Second Chance. She is a multi-breed dog of things we're not quite sure. Put your head up here so they can see your pretty face. She is blue heeler. You can tell that by her chest and this under here. You can tell she's blue heeler, and this on her face. We think she's border collie, blue heeler, maybe some min pin, maybe a little Labrador thrown in for good measure. We're not really sure. But this is the Muppet. Yes. And she came with that name. She was about 8 months old when we got her. Hold your head up, otherwise they can't see you. You blend into my shirt. She was about 8 months old when we got her. She'd been returned to the rescues twice. She could not fit into someone's home, and so she came here. She's been here for several years now. She took a lot of work, didn't you? It took a lot of work. She's a sweetheart. She's a sweetie pie. Yeah, she's a very good girl, aren't ya? Okay. All right, you can go now. All right, we'll get the sponsors out now. So we'll just swing the sponsor cam around here a little bit. See if I can get a monitor out of here. Wait, let's get the sponsors and see if they're ready to come out and say hello. You never know. They might decide this is the time they're not going to come out and say hi. Go. Are you coming out? Are you coming out to say hello to the world? You are? You decide you come out this time? Okay. All right. Okay. Get up here and say hello. Yes. There you go. All right. This is Chance. Charlie is deciding whether he's going to come out and say hello to the world or not. She is a beauty, isn't she, Shoo? She is. She definitely is. She's a sweetie. Are you coming up, Mr. Charlie? coming out? Come here. Come here, bud. Come here. Come on. All right. Assume your position. There you go. Oh, don't start coughing the minute you get on the table. For goodness sakes, don't do that. Don't. I'll get you off the table if you do that. Yeah. Stop. Okay. Sorry. Sorry, Charlie. Go. He's got the cough. He's not going to sit up here on the table and gross everybody out. Sorry about that. Yeah, Charlie had to cough. And of course, he will be fine all day long. He'll be fine all day long, and then all of a sudden he gets on the table and starts coughing. Chance is still adjusting to the loss of many of his teeth, aren't you? And he can't quite figure out where his tongue is supposed to go. So he provides comedy relief around here. This one does, because he lost so many teeth a few weeks ago. But anyway, Charlie's on the floor deciding whether he's going to cough up a hairball or what. With that said, that should gross out the entire world, for which I apologize. But anyway, it is great to see you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on a Friday, on a drama-free Friday. Don't forget to check out HowToGetCreative.com if you enjoy what I do. There's lots more over there. You're a little close, bud. Yes, you're a little close to the camera. And I will be here next week, as far as I know. Same time, same place. I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll come up with something. And I will see you then. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And I'll see you next week. Remember to get creative today, because you know it's easy. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.